The Island, the original introduction to ARK, now reborn through Unreal 5, offers a survivor's first steps in learning the game. Set on a world rich with life ready to befriend or hunt you down across misty jungles, murky swamps, foliage-rich redwoods and sub-zero snowy mountains. With a new adventure awaiting, we've packaged everything you need to know about this map all in one place, with timestamps to skip to the parts you need, so sit back, drink a med brew and let's respawn again. Spawning on the island can alone decide your initial survival, with 12 spawn points available, but all covering a wide area in range of specific closer resources than others, and some deceptively easier than advertised. South 1, the ever-popular Bob Spot, paves way for a simple enough beginner experience, with general early game creatures and resources around, with an initial perception to build there and then on the beach. However, with some small exploration can find some flat peaks hidden within foliage, but not too far to keep you elevated and prepared for your initial run, with the swamp and redwoods just north, red obelisk within walking distance, and a rich metal deposit just to the east offers as advertised. South 2 pulls you around to what was referred to as Stonehenge, now more in line to a Pirate's Cove and quite possibly becoming a favoured PvE or role-playing location, with a few cliff-line spots in view to build on. Otherwise, the same metal deposits slightly closer, but notably a selection of beaver dams being a great early choice for cementing paste. Green obelisk not too far of a journey to the north, and the easiest artifact cave on your doorstep, allowing access to the hunter and a few early cave loot crates, not forgetting one of the few 6x explorer notes in close proximity. South 3, adjacent to Stonehenge, covers a wide spawn radius almost all the way to another artifact cave, with perhaps one of the best flat build spots along the southern edge and a few more in close proximity, not forgetting some notable islands worth considering, more flat spots towards Green Obelisk and almost opposite the ever popular location of Herb Island. West 1 takes us right back next door to South 1, so similar reachable locations are offered there, though brings you just closer to Red Obelisk and a favoured location I personally enjoy to begin at, with the swamp and redwoods being quickly reachable to the north. West 2 spawns us on Crags Island and home to most Explorer Note runners' starting location, offering a handful all in close proximity to level up your character very quickly. So maybe a popular location to begin on, with some notable new interesting rock cliffs to consider building on, scenic waterfalls just opposite, and a popular choice if needing to get to Red Obelisk quickly, unless you get the right spawn at West 3, dropping you right on its doorstep if spawning in the right rotation, though surprisingly stretches all along the west coast, almost within the snow biome to the north, which may come in handy looking to push those icier locations, and some handy beach level early crystal and silica pearls within reach. Several decent flat cliff spots offering a new home could be a great choice, especially considering one of the best loot crate caves below in the sea, another 6x note within reach, and one of the closest spawns to the volcano, boasting good sources of metal, crystal and obsidian. East 1 pulls us back over to South 3, but this time right on the doorstep of the massive artifact. The best choice if going for Herbivore Island, but otherwise not the most ideal location to build, with the swamp close by to the north and perhaps a safer choice to venture inland towards Green Ob, as opposed to East 2, which can land you right in the swamp and an early grave, but able to survive the spawn offers the closest to green obelisk and a variety of decent flat locations inland, mountains to the north for metal, crystal and obsidian, and a possible contender to best ruins base location, which all can be reached from East 3, circling around to the north, giving you access to the inland river, the most popular flat cliffside location on the east, Carno Island not too far, but perhaps some caution concerning possible giga spawns in the area. North 1 circles around the inland river with the same similar locations as East 3 within reach, so the same build spots, though notably the best choice if looking to run for Carno Island early, and strangely not as difficult a spawn to begin at despite suggested hard. In fact, North 2 couldn't feel more safer, with very few hostiles within the initial spawn area, and my personal fave allowing instant access to reach Alpha Pillar to the south, another choice to reach Carno Island to the east, but likely for most the best spawn to race towards Hidden Oasis, an iconic and beloved spot to build at, boasting beaver dams for early paste and a natural walled-in valley to locate in. Though is the furthest point from any obelisk on the map, offers close proximity to the snow without being in harm's way, unless you choose to spawn at North 3, hostile and freezing cold, with creatures all around ready to kill you in an instant. Only a madman would decide to begin their adventures here, though it is the only spawn with plenty of land oil rocks in close proximity, some questionable new pillar locations to build on, maybe an opportunity to hide in the nearby waterfall, but a choice nonetheless if looking to pursue a climb towards Blue Obelisk. With any spawn, your quickest path to leveling is through explorer notes, found throughout the island in a wide variety of locations, most commonly identified by nearby ruins, and all offering some backstory to the adventures of previous survivors, or information on the primeval wildlife wandering the lands. In all shapes and sizes, and if playing on server will offer experience multiplier differences depending on which can stack and be used on your ridden dinos too, though are once only used items, so choose to level up early and pick wisely for creatures later on. Whilst it was worth considering listing every one, the ARK Wiki does a fantastic job of offering a checklist for you to tick off, which you found if looking to acquire every one on the map. Supply drops and crates have been reborn in ARK Ascended, seemingly organic and lifelike to stand in situ ready to claim. Drops range in colour from white to red to identify the level requirement allowed to access, as well as the loot available, from early game entry loot in white up to end tier saddles and gear in red drops. Ringed versions are available too, though not offering anything different, doubling the amount of items contained, increasing your chances of finding a wreck saddle blueprint in a red. Loot crates operate in the same colour ascending format as supply drops, though on the island can only be discovered within caves, and certain caves offering certain quality of loot crates, ranging from low entry loot green drops in the Hunter Cave to endgame tier rewards in the Hard Snow Cave or Sea Caves. Red supply crates can also be found within specific locations throughout the sea, cycling through these once obtained, and whilst at the time of this guide seem to offer low quality loot, can be expected to offer the best around when updated, so worth studying locations for those late game sea runs. The island can be divided by difficulty by its 3 obelisks in a sort of zigzag pattern, flowing from red across the south, full of dense jungles, early game creatures, and notably some mid-tier, hitting green with the surrounding swamps and notably almost everything within hostile and awaiting, including the not so new but to some impregnating hard shell flying Rhino Natha, zigzagging back through the redwoods full of impending doom around every tree, and possibly your first journey to tame some Argents, along Spino River full of plenty of Brontos and Rexes, around to the plains and mountainous peaks, home to mid to late game creatures, the volcano awaiting your end game adventure and currently an overwhelming population of gigas and carcas, to bend around to the snow biome offering the harsh environments and hostile fluffy aggressors waiting. Lest we forget the deep ocean full of aquatic death at every turn, and easy to miss as you adventure through the murky depths, distracted by the reefs and foliage, or perhaps find solace in one of the many pearl caves dotted all around the outside edge. Most resources are fairly available if knowing where to look, and in ARK Ascended should take special mention with newly redesigned minerals and ores older players may overlook. Bypassing the more obvious common resources such as rock, flint, wood and thatch, metal possibly comes in first, with a variety of rich nodes at specific mountainous peaks across the map. In fact, in most scenarios shouldn't find crystal and obsidian too far away, though the latter two can be found in abundance across the volcano for those prepared to venture for. A certain early go-to source will most likely be cementing paste, and best found quickly through the variety of beaver dam spawn locations throughout the map, though make sure to be prepared for a quick getaway once obtaining. Stepping up to a more regular source will push you to tame an Achatina, found throughout the swamp biomes and naturally producing paste regularly for you. But experienced players will want to turn their attention to Meganora, spawning in the bucket load throughout the immune cave within the redwoods, offering thousands of paste in one sitting if killed by a ridden Beezel buffo, as well as more chitin than you'll ever need. Oil possibly comes up as a close next, with plenty of land nodes to be found to the north, distinguished by their slate decorated edges, and all across the northern edge, though in larger quantities within the sea, identified by floating oil drops. Silica pearls early game, as well as some crystal, can be found along shallow waters at the edge of the snow on the west edge of the map. More easier missed in Ascended due to their less white colouring, can be hand-picked but farmed in the thousands using an anglerfish once tamed, with wild anglerfish rewarding angler gel if killed, a great substitute for fuel than wood or spark powder. Organic polymer comes in the form of Kairuku, or penguins, found throughout the north edge of the snow, and best farmed with a wooden bat or Pelagornis, with babies strangely offering more poly than their adult counterparts. At the time of writing, the well-known go-to penguin islands are completely void of spawns, so may become a tiresome task to farm, possibly reverting to hunting Hesperonis instead. Black pearls are certainly a more challenging resource to farm than later maps, rewarded in small volume through Tuzo's slains, so likely encouraged to source Euryptrids throughout the seabed edges to kill and farm from, before being prepared enough to take on either Alpha Moses or Alpha Tuzos, rewarding large quantities to prepare you for Tech tier. Bee honey says it on the tin, found throughout hives attached to trees in the redwoods, trees which by the way you'll want to poke a sap tap with to generate sap, and whilst can be farmed by hand safely if wearing full ghillie, perhaps best to with a tamed direbear to reward in larger quantities, or preferably tame a giant bee yourself by destroying an active hive, claiming the queen, and creating a placeable hive to generate your own, ensuring they have wildflowers to feed on, which can be found more specifically within the swamps and harvested in the bucket load if using a Therizino, with the same location taking you not long to find a wild X plant for those precious plant defenses, and leeches awaiting a quick death to mix into your antidotes, leaving biotoxin to be farmed from the now really rare jellyfish spawns throughout the sea, and to any attractive forces, ammonite bile from ammonite along the seabed. The endgame of ARK invites you to beat and defeat 3 boss guardians, offered in 3 varied difficulties to reward you with Tek Unlocks and pursue the final challenge of the Tek caves within the volcano. Depending on difficulty, choosing to fight will require a variety of apex items sourced from killing those specific creatures, as well as artifacts, and all 10 artifacts requiring a cave challenge to overcome and obtain from. The easiest and quickest to run should be the Hunter artifact, with only spiders, scorpions, arthros, snakes, and the odd megalania to contend with, in a straightforward twist of turns, doable on foot, though maybe speed run with a caving tame such as a baryonyx to reach. Clever comes in as the second easiest at the base of the volcano, with the same minions as above, including a few bats to contend with, the odd Sarco, and a very spookier encounter, if lucky, with a megalosaurus. Heading over to the Massive in the southeast invites a hot and steamy affair, requiring some thought into fortitude and ghillie gear to brave a dark night's worth of bats, spiders, and death-defying jumps to be mindful of as you descend to the final room. Doable on foot, though worth bringing a few grapples for a safety net. Turning to pack now requires a plummet to a sizable cave, but ran much quicker with a few grapples handy, passing by the volume of arthros and bats through a few spider-filled caverns to enter the main hub, branching out a variety of routes, but one easily missed crack to grapple through to take home your next artifact. Over to Duvera in the northeast on Carno Island, again with a few simple grapples can allow you a quick journey in and out, taking out the welcoming bat party to begin with, to rappel down to the artifact awaiting and quickly make your escape before the wealth of minions pursue. The Brute Cave finds you undersea on the west side, with a fairly easier experience to overcome if using a well-saddled Basilo, though may find it completely barren on your first venture in, but later filled with eels, sharks, manta, and supposedly the odd mosa. A great cave to farm for loot crates if you can get the loot crates to spawn in. Dropping in Skylord now leaves some close quarters combat within a chilling environment, battling through a number of spider and bats in frankly the quickest cave in the game if bending to the right, again with a few grapples handy sees you get in and out within seconds. Over to the Immune requires a gas mask or scuba and ghillie set, specifically at least 3 pieces of scuba to allow entry without being harmed by the poisonous air. And then you'll need a mount ready to take on the hundreds of high-level mosquitoes, spiders, snakes and arthros, with the best recommendation currently being a frog to farm paste in the process, though can be done with a well-leveled Barry and being the best land location apparently to farm Rex saddle blueprints. With Cunning on the east side undersea can become a more nerve-wracking experience than the opposite side, finds a well-equipped Basilo again a decent choice to swim through and slowly take out the aggressive eels, sharks and mosas and dunks bit by bit to eventually reach the almost hidden passage leading you down towards your artifact, which leaves Strong, a brutal gauntlet of freezing temperatures, high-level strong wolves, bears, yetis, and ready to pounce and stun you at any moment Palovias. Challenging enough on foot, it's possible, though you may want to consider your tankiest, hard-hitting cave-sized creatures to adventure, ensuring plenty of explosives to unearth the fun, stunning Palovias, and again, some of the best loot crate rewards awaiting right in this cave. taking on the 3 bosses, no matter the difficulty, requires at least some thought-provoking suggestions. Megapithecus is by far the easiest to beat of the 3 and can be brute forced with any formidable late game creatures with high level saddles coupled with a UT2 buff. Broodmother, however, is best beaten with either Megatheriums or Spinos. The former owed to a considerable 375% bug buff, boosting damage and reducing any taken, and Spinos offered a hydration buff to come in as a close second choice to take the big mama down, though highly recommended to be wearing high level saddles with UT and Daedon buffs for alpha tier especially. Dragon adopts a much stranger approach, with it dealing a whopping 20% damage with each fire breath emitted, though herbivores specifically receive much less damage from its standard attacks, means a recommendation of Therazinos stacked with veggie cakes being the best possible choice, and in fact herbivores with exactly just less than 21k health, allowing the optimum amount of health healing with veggie cakes versus fire breath, but again alpha tier needing the best saddles either way, and your buffing squad to take home the victory. And there's many to be had, with a wide assortment of Tek Unlocks available with each difficulty beaten, stacking with higher difficulties, as well as element in the form of new loot crates dropped. It's worth knowing what offers what unlocks, and what presents the most element, with Dragon offering 440 if beaten on Alpha, Megapithecus offering 220 but being the much easier fight, and Brood still offering 148 despite arguably being harder than the big gorilla. To older players specifically, it's worth knowing what's new with Tek, and the major new inclusions being 3 flavours of teleporters, ranging in size and offered in size depending on which difficulty dragon beaten, though worth noting you're unable to teleport from small to larger TPs but allowed to all from their larger counterparts. Transmitters offer a new function allowing you to fight bosses there and then from your location, a huge help for anyone looking to farm bosses and preferring not to leave creatures at obelisks. Replicators can now be powered directly from generators and offer wireless crafting from connected dedicated storage boxes, meaning the race to Tek for an easier life has never been more rewarding, with S+ style engram crafting now in the main game. And finally, a new addition to Tek doors, giant Tek trap doors that snap to any objects, to allow as many vertical Tek doors as you're accustomed to horizontal doors. However, you'll notice one more Tek engram remaining to unlock, which takes us to the Tek Cave. Requiring your boss trophy heads along with further alpha apex items required if pursuing higher difficulties will challenge you to navigate the treacherous descent through the Tek Cave, fighting off high level endgame dinos to teleport to the Overseer Arena and face your previously fought foes once again, allowing you to not only ascend to Scorched Earth, gain an extra 5 levels per difficulty, but reward you with chibis, attachable mini creature pets that you can carry with you at all times and help to reward you with a further 5 levels from killing alpha wilds whilst in possession. Gamma Overseer rewards 1 random common chibi per kill, Beta rewards 1 random common and 1 random uncommon, and Alpha rewards 1 random common, 1 random uncommon, and 1 random rare chibi, as well as your final Tek engram, Tek Binoculars. Repurposed for Ascended, provides the ultimate endgame reward to not only zoom in and out detecting outlines of creatures, but their full stats and what points are distributed into which, enabling you to discover which dinos are worth taming to potentially roll into monster tames, as well as identify their colour regions and mutations. Throw in an extra 10 levels unlocking from finding all explorer notes on the map allows you to level up to an astonishing 135 on just the island alone. And I wonder what else will arrive with the next maps that follow. Thanks all for tuning in. If you learned something or feel there's something missing, drop a comment below. Let me know. Until the next one, my name is Raasclark. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And as always, peace out.